At this time, Solomon said, "Everyone, stay calm. Mr. Jingai is also considering the development of our metaphysical world. Before, everyone was scattered, but now we are organized, formed an alliance, and elected a leader. In the future, it will be more convenient to deal with the enemy, this also a good thing. As for the categories that you are not good at, since you have to choose the leader, it must be a person who is proficient in all aspects of mountain medicine and life in general to be qualified." While he was speaking, some people sternly objected, but some people made up their minds. After all, the winner can win the same thing as the loser. If they get the first place, they can also command the entire Nangguang metaphysics world. You know, metaphysics is more than just academic research. Behind the metaphysics is a huge industrial chain, and it can also allow some big people to cling to them. The temptation of money and power, few people can refuse, some people are moved on the spot. Of course. Jingai stood up and said, "I don't force you, if anyone is afraid, you can withdraw now." But in the future, he will not have the opportunity to join the Metaphysics Alliance in Nangguang circles, and he will be directly excluded. Everyone hesitated for a while. Although the risks are high, there are also many opportunities. Everyone is thinking in their hearts, after all, it is a great temptation to become the leader, and no one feels bad. Charlie sat in the chair and said nothing. Jinghai's ambition is too great, this is to pave the way to enter the mainland. However, Charlie had no interest in this metaphysical alliance either, and planned to sit and watch the show. Soon, a middle-aged man with short beard stood up. The middle-aged man casually took out a jade slip with a large palm, and swayed in the wind. The jade slip was shining brightly, and he said, "Young Jones, Yun City, ask Mr. Jingai for his ability to speak casually." The Jones family is a metaphysical family, focusing on Bu Yi, which is the inheritance of Shao Yang during the Northern Thompson dynasty. Young Jones is the 46th generation descendant of Meiwa who is easy to count. He is very famous in Yun City, and he is naturally proud. The first challenge is Jingai. It is okay. There was a burst of applause in the field. Young Jones raised his chin arrogantly. This jade slip was handed down from the Northern Thompson dynasty and helped many masters of Yi learning Bu Yi. As for the number one in Nangguang area, I think Jones's family should be ranked first. Jingai also walked to the court, nodded slightly to young Jones, and smiled. "This jade slip is indeed a good thing, but it won't belong to you soon." He stretched out his hand and took out a purse from his pocket. After untying it, he took out an inch-long rune paper, but this rune paper also had a shining luster with cinnabar runes engraved on it. Arhat Golden Talisman. When the crowd saw this golden talisman, they suddenly exclaimed. Warnya explained to Charlie. The Arhat Golden Talisman was made by 18 monks who chanted the sutras for 7 or 49 days, consecrated and refined, and belonged to the fierce anti-evil talisman. Charlie smiled slightly and said, "It's normal, not a good thing." Hearing what he said, everyone turned their eyes and cast disgusting eyes at him. Jingai also snorted coldly, "I don't have any real skills, but I am not bragging. Everyone knows that the Arhat Talisman is a rare treasure. It is not easy to find a group of 18 accomplished monks, and when it is made, the time and place are favorable. The failure rate of consecration is as high as 90%. And this one in Jinghai's hand is full of golden light, it can be said to be hard to find. Stop talking nonsense, let's open a hexagram." Young Jones let out a cold snort, then pinched several handprints in his hand, chanting the formula in his mouth, and after a while, he said, "The hour begins, and after a quarter of an hour, wind and thunder will come from the west." Jingai smiled slightly, and without seeing any movement, he said, "The wind is wrapped in thunder. To be precise, this is not the wind, but the shock caused by the opening of the mountain, and it is man-made. There will be jail." Young Jones frowned, shook his head and said, "Impossible. No one is shown in the hexagram." Mr. Jingai just smiled and did not answer. Everyone was curious and waited secretly. A quarter of an hour passed quickly, and young Jones stared nervously in the air in a daze. But at this moment, a loud bang suddenly came from the west, and then a gust of wind swept across, and the ground vibrated slightly. Solomon smiled and took out his mobile phone, and said, "The news feed I just got. On the side of Chishan, someone quarried rocks, which caused a 2.4 earthquake. The police have arrested him." Young Jones's face was gray and froze on the spot. He only counted the wind and thunder, but Mr. Jingai even counted that the matter was man-made and that there would be prison. He raised his head, no longer the arrogance he had just now, and smiled embarrassingly. "Mr. Jingai is great, it was Jones who lost. I will withdraw from this banquet." After speaking, he picked up the jade slip, turned and left. "Slow!" Solomon shouted, "Mr. Jones, since you are on the court, you should abide by the rules." "What are the rules?" Young Jones's face was sullen. "According to the rules, the winner has the right to take your things. And, you have to admit it in public, and you will respect Mr. Jingai in the future." "Nonsense. It's just a banquet. You want to seize my magic weapon, and you want me to respect others, just dreaming." Young Jones laughed furiously. His character is hot, how can he tolerate succumbing to others? Jingai raised his hand and took out another rune. He used his fingers to draw and call it a few times, and then said, "Hurry as a law." Crack! Under all eyes, young Jones's jade slip suddenly broke into two halves and fell to the ground. "You!" Young Jones's treasure was destroyed, and he was frightened and trembling with anger.